You're listening to Grounded Girl. With me, Jazzy Post.
Hello, everybody. You're here listening to Grounded Girl, and I'm here today with at Georgia_portfolio.
That's me.
George, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. Georgia, what do you do? Who are you? Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm Georgia. I am a fashion designer in Brisbane, Australia, and I also make vlogs on YouTube and just pretty much be myself and share my design process along the way with aspects of sustainability and minimalism and all the good stuff.
Cool. And you're currently selling sewing patterns. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, I just released my second one last week, was it? I think it's been a week and a couple of days. So yeah, but yeah.
Congratulations. They are beautiful. You've got the George dress and the cat dress, and they're both timeless pieces.
Exactly.
And you've done so well. Have they been well received?
Yes, I've actually been blown away with the response of both of them. Like when I released the George dress back in November, I think it was end of November.
Yeah.
There's videos and stuff on YouTube, but I was blown away. I was like, if I get one order, it'll be fine. But on the day that I released, I ended up getting I think it was 20 orders or something, which I was just like blown away.
That's awesome! Yay!
What the hell?
That is so cool because sewing is would you say you think that sewing is a bit of a dying art form, or do you think it's back on the rise?
Well, I used to think that when I wasn't when I didn't have my sewing Instagram and stuff. I used to think I'm the only one who likes sewing at my school or in I don't know, wherever I was in life. But then when I found people on Instagram, it just it's become so big in my world on Instagram that I'm it's definitely not a dying form at all. But if you're not in that world, you probably do think it is.
Yeah, totally. So how did you start your Instagram? How did that all start?
I have started multiple before I started this one. But this one I was traveling weirdly enough. Well, not weirdly, but I was traveling in Thailand with my friend at the time, and we were in a bit of this fabric market area. Yeah. And I was just taking photos of fabrics and stuff, and I was putting on my stories, which was my personal Instagram account at the time.
Yes.
And I got back to the hostel, was laying in bed, and I was these people on my personal account don't want to see this. They don't care about fabric or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was literally just laying in my single bed in Chiang Mai, and I was I'm just gonna open an account right now and just open an account, and then I was when I get home I'll start posting and stuff. So that's how it officially started.
That's awesome.
It was
and how do you you make so much content. You are very prolific. You're vlogging and you're creating awesome videos, and it's not you're just taking a photo of something and popping it up. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And so I wonder how much work goes into it. How do you fuel yourself for that creativity and that dedication?
Well, I don't know. Majority of the time I do things in advance. I don't just to keep myself sane, I'll save things for later dates. So I'm just ahead of myself. But that takes a lot of effort, mental energy anyway, to figure that out. But I don't know. I just love it. So I just am constantly taking photos or videos of whatever I'm creating at the time, or and I just enjoy it. So it's just it's so easy for me to do. I just love it.
That's so cool. They say, people say that you should be successful at things you just love to do because you'll naturally be successful at it if you're doing it because you love it, and that pleasure is contagious. And so it sounds like it's easy for you in a sense. Would you say that?
I'd say it's pretty easy for me because I still have my other job and I'll still be working and stuff, but I'll come home and I'll still be excited to, I don't know, continuously make work. It doesn't feel like work to me, but it it kind of is like another second job for me, but it's like,
yes.
it's still easy to do. So
What's your other job?
I work at a social media agency and just do like more content and stuff, not for myself or anything. It's more for like clients. So like anything under the sun, which is kind of like, I don't know, other like businesses with just like, even like realtors. I can't even say it.
Yeah, realtors?
Yeah, that's it. Realtors.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's pretty different from what you do. Like that's very different.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I work in social media on that side, and then I'm like still working on social media for myself.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. And Georgia, are you a proud outfit repeater?
Yes. You would know this. When we worked together, I was literally like wearing the same clothes like every week. Like
yes, but so was I. And most of my clothes are hand-me-downs from my mum, including this top.
Me from my sister, I'm like wearing her jackets all the time. I'm like,
yes. So you touched on when I used to see you at work. So let's talk a little bit about that. So how do we know each other?
So we worked, how much detail should I go into?
I mean, maybe we don't say the company name, but we can say like, and not specific names. We can talk about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we worked together at I don't know, just a brand and just
fast fashion.
Started like a couple of days apart from each other. I started, and then you started like 2 days later or something.
Yes.
Like I was so happy because I was like, oh, I got another new girl. And you like sat down next to me, and I was like, oh, this is my new friend.
Yes. And you were the fashion designer, and I was the graphic designer. And so we worked pretty closely together.
Yes.
Would you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Like we we looked opposite each other, right?
Yeah. We knew what was happening in our part of like that business.
Yes. Yeah. When you say that business, how is your overall feeling of that experience? Like, that's a big question to ask.
It was funny because there's so many up and downs.
Yeah.
That business, because it was like at the start I was on like a high because it was like my first design job. So I was like, yes, this is it. I'm going to get in there, design clothes and like build a like portfolio and stuff and just get my foot in the door, which was my goal pretty much. So I was stoked. Mm-hmm. And then there was just some downs that were just like, I don't know. I assume was with like every business, but this one, it just happened to be with a lot of us working there as well.
Yes.
But like, yeah, just like there was definitely towards the end more negatives, like obviously. But
yes. And something that I think I learned and took out of it, because I've worked in 2 fast fashion companies now, and the whole underlying premise that the companies are built on is that it's exploiting other people so that to make really cheap garments, really badly made and not great settings, to like just sell, wear once, break, go to landfill. Like it's a really awful cycle. And it's almost like when the foundations are so unfair in a way, it's like really hard to then build something that's where the positive stuff's going to stick, I felt. And I feel like we both experienced that, trying to make a place, like want to change, want to be better, want to like try more sustainability things, want to be more like diverse, but it kind of didn't really get anywhere.
It always just fell through. Always just fell through. Always. Like, I just remember like having those meetings where we'd all sit together and we'd have these massive brainstorms about all these fun, exciting things that we were going to do, new things, and like we would be like, yes, things are changing, and then nothing would happen. Absolutely. No. And we'd just be like, okay. Like,
yes. And these are like big things that are like, we're talking about, like this was during the whole Black Lives Matter thing too, like that happened too. We were right there, and all of the fashion, like it was like every business put out a statement of what they believed and how they felt, and it was a really big contentious thing at our place of work. Would you agree?
Yes. Like, oh my God. I just remember like our boss, she was annoyed that she couldn't post on Instagram. Like, I just remember that being like, she was like, I want, like, when can I start posting again?
Yes,
I just remember just being like, wow.
Yes,
like
because she was angry that she was losing profit because Instagram drives so many sales.
Yeah.
So during that the blackout, everybody just like didn't post.
No one posted. Like, no other brand was posting. Just no one. It was nothing at that time.
No celebrities were posting. Everyone was just doing the black tile.
And then I just remember her just saying like just being like scoffing, like just being like, when can I start posting again? Like, I was just like, oh, you're not getting it. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because it's like, how much do you think business and politics should be like intertwined?
I don't know. I feel like at least like you should be aware of it and be like pretty like conscious of like, because it is our world pretty much. Like, we're always going to have like things happen, and
yes,
you need to be like, you just need to be able to like, I don't know, just be aware of things that are happening and make sure that you're like respectful towards them, even if you don't believe it or don't think it's necessary. You should, in some case, like, just like
hold space, shut up, listen, learn. Especially with big, you're right. Like, it's a big thing that affects everybody, and to pretend that like business and that isn't personal is silly, because it is.
Yeah, like if you think you're separate just because you're like a business or something, you're like, oh, but that's not what I started my business for, or something like that. It's like, but you're in it now.
Yes.
And your audience wants you to act on it or whatever. Like, you
speak up.
Should.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, for you, what are the things that you're passionate about as a business and a creator?
It's so strange to think of myself as like a business now.
I know. Yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
Well, what are the things? Maybe I shouldn't say business, because as a person, I guess, like what drives you? What are your values? What are the things that, you know, you as George's portfolio want to, I don't know, make a difference in?
Well, my main goal is to just like, because obviously I love designing, but there was always that worry before I started. I was like, I don't want to be making my own clothes like in like my room or wherever and selling them, because I feel like that's, even though it would be ethically made by me, but it would be running myself to the ground, because it's so time consuming, and I just couldn't handle that for myself, and I'd probably be selling clothes that I don't really love to like people, because it would just be like time over like profit and stuff like that, like just random stuff. But so I'm just going to start making patterns, because then it's obviously cheaper for people to buy a pattern than buy an ethically made garment. And if I design the garment to be quite minimal and timeless, obviously it'll last for years and can be purchased across the years, and people can make it the way they want to make it, with patterns and colors and everything like that. So my like goal is to just make designs that are timeless and minimal, that still very like not trendy, but like cool girl, like, you know.
Totally.
And stuff like that, because you don't want them to be like completely boring. But
well, fashion is cool, right? You want to look good, you want to feel good, like you want to say something. And so what do you think that wearing George's portfolio dress says?
Well, for me, when I wear my clothes, I don't know, I just like wearing linens pretty much. So like people probably look at me and they're like, that girl in the linen. I hope they do anyway. I hope they think I'm stylish.
You definitely are stylish. And that's something that I love about you, is that you are very minimal, and you're like understated elegance. It's good. Like simple design, simple lines, but like make an impact. It's awesome.
Yeah. And that's like something like, I don't know if I've ever spoken to you about this, but when I was like at uni for where I studied like fashion design, it was so hard, not hard, but it was just so difficult for me at the time, because every week you'd sit down with your design teacher and talk about the designs that you were going to pattern make and create pretty much.
Yes.
And I always designed pretty minimal, like ready-to-wear clothes.
Yes.
And my design teachers and design like leaders and all that sort of stuff, they not that they hated it, but they were always like, they wanted you to do really crazy out there, like more like runway, like show stuff. And I was just like, oh, like I don't want to do, like I'm not doing big sleeves and like,
yes.
Like, and it just drove me insane because that was like my first glimpse at like making clothes that you wouldn't wear, like just for one purpose. Like you'd wear them once and then just never touch them again. So it was like, it was really frustrating. I was like, I want to make clothes that I'm going to wear after this.
Yeah.
But they were still like thriving for me to be like, no, they need to be wild and out there and all these different colors and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah. Wow. So like, where did you, because that is really down to earth. Like, how did you, where does that come from?
I don't know. Like, I've always been pretty like, I grew up like not knowing anything about fashion. Like if you knew me when I was younger, like you'd think I was like, and I don't know, people who probably did know me when I was younger actually thinking that I went to design school would be like, what the hell? She knows nothing about design.
Really?
Like,
really?
Yeah, it's like pretty, like, I don't know, not that like wearing clothes is like great, but when I was younger, I would just wear like, I don't know, just random like things from Target and like Big Dove and like, I didn't give a crap. Like it was just like, I don't know, it was just clothes for me. But then sewing came into it and I quite liked it and then figured out my style as I grew up.
Yes.
Which was like, I figured out pretty early that I didn't like patterns and like florals and stuff. That was like too wild for me. So I pretty much haven't worn a floral in like 10 years probably.
Yeah, wow. But you've designed so many, would you say? Like had to, like things that would end up being floral.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
So you're like cool because you can like design things that you know people will like that you don't necessarily like, but then you also have managed to like now you're just creating things that you love, right? Which is so like liberating.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I worked as a fashion designer for the brand that we like worked at, I was always designing for the customer and like for my boss really, because like obviously those designs weren't me. They were always just like for the customer, what the customer will buy.
Yes.
And it's very targeted, like just the way that like trends and stuff happen, like it's always targeted at like very young women pretty much that are just like so quick-minded to make decisions on something that's really pretty, which is majority of the time florals. And like bright. So
Totally. And then it used to be my job then to take photos of those things and then make the email that gets sent out and then pitch it to people of this will make you feel beautiful.
Yeah.
Buy it and you'll be happy. But it's not true because the next day we want you to buy more. Like it's just like this constant, never ending, like insatiable beast.
It was never ending.
It was never ending. It was never ending. So, like, how did you get out of fast fashion then? What did that, like, tell me a bit about that. What is fast fashion? We should probably explain that.
Oh, okay. So fast fashion is pretty much just like traditionally what is made with clothes. Oh, sorry, I didn't even word myself correctly.
You're right.
Like a business will find a manufacturer overseas traditionally, which is like somewhere cheap like China or Bangladesh or I don't know, India, sometimes other places, but the majority of like third world countries where they can get them from really cheap, get them shipped over to Australia and just sell them for a massive profit. And it's just like it's done over a very quick cycle, like designing within like 3 months, sometimes less than that, which is insane if you know the design process.
Yes.
And then selling them within like probably about 6 weeks. Like, do you remember when we worked there? If things were still online for like 8 weeks, they'd put them on sale because it was just like, this isn't selling. been
moving
eight
along.
weeks. Yeah, we need to get rid of it.
Yes.
And then so it's just like very quick. Like I think now I can't even remember what it is now, but there's like it used to be like every week, like 52 seasons in a year, but I think there's even more than that now. I think there's like 100 seasons in a year or something, which is
what? Like as in fashion seasons?
Yeah, like it used to be just like the 4 like
wow.
And then it's just like exploded over the years where it's been like 1 every week, but then now it's like 2 every week, so it's like insane. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. And we would shoot like up to like, I don't know, 80 garments like at a time and then release them every single week.
Pre-pandemic, when you guys used to shoot from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4, like is that what
Yeah, and the model's just like going, like different outfit. And then when it comes to the end of the year and you've got all the sales, it's like, oh, you've got even more to shoot through.
Oh my God. Like
I know. It's not as glamorous as what it is projects.
No, when you think about going to work for like a fashion brand or something, it's so exciting and like you're like, oh, I'm gonna like learn so much. But then when you get in there, it's actually really like quite full on and traumatizing. Like
it really is. It really is.
Yeah, and if you're not in the like I would say we were on a very different mindset to what you should be when you work fast fashion. Like
yes,
we were very like, I don't know, I just felt like we always knew that each other, we were just very like, nah, fast fashion's not for us. Like
I feel like we were both artists in a way that like when you do a creative job, you generally have to take whatever you can to get your leg up into the industry. And I feel like we both understood that we were compromising our personal ethics by being there just because it's what you got to suck up and do if you want to be creative and get a job.
Literally, that's what I thought, because I had finished uni and I was living in Sydney for a year and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a year, find myself a fashion job. Yeah. And within that year, I literally found no fashion job. Like I got a job in like customer care and stuff, but it's not fashion. No. So I was like, I'm going to move to Brisbane and try and do it. And then when I like got the job at the place we worked, I was like, this is my foot in the door. I know it's fast fashion. I know I don't want to work in fast fashion, but I'm going to do it for this amount of time or whatever. Yes. Just so I have that experience, even though it was not what I wanted to do. Like my morals and stuff were like screaming at me, but I was like, I've got to do it if I want the experience.
Yes. And do you have any regrets about that in any way?
No, like I wish I left sooner. That's probably my only regret. But I feel like I did learn how to actually like do a lot of things, but that was majority on my part because I started as the first designer there. So I made all the procedures and how to like talk to manufacturers and stuff. Like I kind of learnt that all myself, which was to think, but no actual regrets that I think about really.
No, and nor should you either, but I just wondered, like, but you did say that you regret not getting out sooner, and so I have to ask, what's that about?
Well, when I think it was, what year did I can't remember what year. So it started 2021, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah. I had just asked for a pay rise and I'd got it and I was like, not over the moon, but I was like, yep, okay, pay rise, good, solid income. I was like, I'm going to work this job for a whole year and then I can go off and do whatever I want. Like I just want to work a year. And this like, not that the pay rise was like everything, but I was like, this is the most I'd been paid as ever. So I was like, okay, I've got to save this money or whatever and then I can get out and live.
And what was that like asking for a pay rise? Because that's something that we don't really talk about, but something that we definitely should.
Yeah, it was scary. Like, and the fact that I was like not on good terms with my boss, not that I wasn't on bad terms, but it was just like
unspoken
thing that like my bosses didn't like me and I didn't like them.
Yes, yes. Well, the bosses used to bring what they used to do because they were, I don't know, a couple. So they would bring in different staff members and kind of like ask them, "What's your vibe on this person? What do you think about this?" And then kind of like would say, "Well, I heard this from them," and so it would get around that. Like is that what you're talking about with that unsaid
things where it was just like. Yeah, like they just find out things about you and like, I don't know, they just hold things against you and be very like.
Yes.
Oh, what's the word? Like possessive, not possessive.
Controlling?
Controlling and like, I can't even think of the word where you're like scared of getting their information out. Like.
Yes, they were very, very afraid that they would be, I don't know, like found it out to be like maybe discriminatory or not fair or maybe like people experience bullying, workplace bullying, and they were.
I can't remember her name actually, and I obviously wouldn't say it, but like,
yes.
You remember there was a casual warehouse girl, and I remember when she left, she was like, "I can't wait to go to Current Affair," and
yes.
I remember our boss was actually heard it and was like, like actually got scared, and we were
got scared, and we were like, "Yeah, what?
Scared.
Yeah, what have you got to hide? What skeletons?"
We hadn't been working there that long, I don't think, anyway. And
no,
yeah, we were kind of like, "Why are you scared about that?" Like, and then things just started happening.
Yeah, things just started happening. I know, and then there were contractors who weren't getting paid properly. That was a thing too. I remember
because like when you first started, you'd said that your previous like employer, that the other fast fashion industry business,
yes,
they were doing that. They weren't paying people, and then our boss was like, "Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible." But then it started happening at our work, and we were like, what's going on here?" Like,
yes. And it was all like people that they felt that they could get away with not paying. So say like influencers.
It was
influencers. Yes.
Which was like crazy because they could afford it. And like, that's the thing I found the funniest. So it was pretty clear to us that they were obviously making a lot of money.
A lot of money.
They would always come to us and be like, "We're a small business. We don't make that much." Like, try and play it down a lot. And it was just like,
yes,
okay, like,
yes. And then that's when they started to restrict our access because we could see figures.
Yes.
And then remember it came in, and then all of a sudden all the access was changed, like for just like you, but not for me, like just a few selected people that were vocal about like, this isn't okay.
I remember we came in one morning, my Shopify like access was like gone, and I'd spoken about it with another girl that we worked with closely, and she was like, "Yeah, my access is gone too," and I was like, "We're in the bad books." Like,
I know.
It was funny. It was funny at the time because we were just like, "What have we done? Like, what have we done? We don't even know what we've done." But
yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So we go back to, so you asked for the pay rise.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So I asked for the pay rise. I got it, which I was like happy about. So I was like, okay, I'm going to work here for max a year, 12 months, no longer than that because I can't do it for my moral. Like I couldn't do any longer. Like that was in my head, locked in. Yes. So the whole year pretty much I was applying for other jobs and like going to interviews and stuff, and they always just like fell through, and so that just put me into the like pits. Like I was just like, "Oh, I'm not going to get a job. Like I'm not good at fashion design. Like it's just like all this negative talk." So it was just like, just kept getting worse and worse, and then like at the end I was like, "Stuff it. I'm just going to start applying for like crappy casual jobs just to get out because I cannot work in this place anymore." Because it was just like the amount of work I was doing was insane. Like I was sending off, I think it was like she wanted me to send off 10 new designs every single week to get manufactured and sampled. Wow. And then like, because I was doing 10 a week, that means there was new samples coming back all the time that I had to work on. And then there was ones I had to approve and alter and like just a lot.
So what is the sample process, just to quickly, just really quickly to unpack just for the listener? What do you mean by what's a sample?
Sample. So it's your first sample of the garment I've designed. So I've designed a garment, I've sent it to the manufacturer with like a tech pack, which has all its information of like, I don't know, stitches, measurements, reference images, like anything you can imagine.
Yeah.
And the factory would take that and make this garment that you've designed, and they will send it to you. And usually in the fast fashion world anyway, that's within like 4 weeks.
Yes. And how good is the quality?
Like in the fast fashion world, it's very like hard to get your hands on good fabric because obviously it's fast fashion. So they want the fabric to be cheap, which means like putting in polyester to make it cheaper, or like just using crappy buttons, or like just really bad machinery work and stuff like that. So they'd come back and be not great. But someone's just come home, sorry. But
no, that's fine.
I don't know if you can hear the door, but
I did.
So where was I at?
Sorry. So you were saying, you were explaining what a sample was, but then you were just saying that they had a crazy amount of, so basically you got these samples back and you're working and making all of these, designing all these garments, and you're overworking. And then like, would you say that they just kept expecting more and more as you would deliver? Then they'd be like, all right, well, if she can do this, then let's see if she can do this, and just keep adding to it.
Exactly. So you'd like get your sample back, and then you'd like work on it and fit it on the model and stuff like that. And if it needs changes, you'd fix it and blah, 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 blah. And because like I was doing the work and like doing it exactly what our boss wanted and stuff, I feel like she just like kept driving that on me. Like she was just like, yep, let's do this, let's do that. And then like, it was just a lot going on with designing anyway. It was just like an incredible amount. Like I'd say I worked on at least like, I don't even know, like 20 garments a week with just like fixing up. And pretty much majority of the time they would have to be resampled because the first sample was always pretty crap. And because that takes then another 4 weeks to get resampled and get shipped back to you, that adds to obviously the time. So that never made our boss happy that it was taking more time to get a garment, because that meant it wasn't online for sale pretty much. So
yes,
it was just, I could always tell that like our boss was just like, oh, this sample didn't turn out, it's your fault. And it's like, but you know why? Like, it's because you're making me do things so fast that it's not good quality, and these people in these factories are being overworked. Like, it's just it's such a domino effect, and that she just clearly had no idea about anything, and she put walls up for that. Like, I remember her, like our other boss, her partner, said, she was like, oh, in the factories, surely by now, like, I think this was like 2020. No, it was 2021, because this is when we started working with the new factory. And he was like, surely the factories now, that's all run by machines and it's not man-driven or anything like that. And I was like, do you understand that, like, a sewing machine has to be run by something? Like,
isn't that so funny?
Yeah,
that seems like it's like part of the issue is that the people who are often running these businesses and like don't actually have any idea about it.
No. And
so then just have like crazy expectations.
That was, and I remember that being like, when I got my pay rise, that being a really big thing, because they had given me the pay rise that I wanted, because they originally offered me way less. and I
Yes.
didn't accept it. I was like, I'm not happy with this. I want this amount.
Yes.
And like, that was scary for me to, first of all.
And
say
they used
no.
they used to do things like sort of like intimidation sort of tactics where they would say, okay, well, you will have a meeting with us, but they won't
Yeah.
tell you what time, and you'll just have to sit outside their office all day as they come in and out, closing the doors, and they're having meetings. And
yeah, and like, oh, your heart would just be like, I used to have so much anxiety working there. Like, I would sweat uncontrollably because I was so like scared of them. Like, I don't know if you remember it, but they would come in at probably like 10 o'clock in the morning or something, and we would start at like 8, so a couple of hours before.
well, I didn't. I was always slack. I'd come in late. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, me and the other girl.
Yeah, you were good. You were good.
We would sit there, and anyway, every time they would rock up, you could hear the car lock, like it would make like a beep. It'd be like beep beep.
Yep.
And I'd be like, "Fuck, they're here." Don't know if I can swear on the podcast.
Yeah. Go for it.
Well, like, oh my god! I'll be like, "Oh my god, they're here!" Like, just fully start tensing up, like no longer relaxed. Like,
yes,
got to be on the computer, like working away. Like, it was just like, oh.
It was a bad vibe there.
Bad vibe. But yeah, they would do like so much intimidation like stuff with you, and like with my pay rise, because they had given me the pay rise. They were like, okay, and they said this exactly, like I remember them doing it so clearly. He was like, so we expect you to level up the designs this year and like understand the customer more, because we have given you that pay rise, so we expect more. And I was like, and that was just as the meeting was ending, like we were saying goodbye, and he said that. And then I was like, okay. And then just like got up and left. And I was like, I'm so out of here in 12 months. I was like,
yes, because your pay rise that you were asking for wasn't just because you were being a diva and you wanted more money. It was because you were doing more work than you were being paid for. So they were, yes. So you were just asking for what you were entitled to, which was like yes. But then once the bare minimum, like not that much, not anything ridiculous.
No. And I remember having like dinner with us who worked together, and like we spoke about it, and like you guys were all hyping me up, making me, they were like, you were telling me to actually ask more than what I got. And I was like,
yes, because
I don't know if I'm worth that. And you guys were like, yes, you are. And I was like, oh my God, like I know it had said to me like that before. So I was so happy that like you guys could see it. And I was like, surely our bosses can, but they're obviously just doing their like games and stuff where they want you to work for nothing pretty much. But
yes. Did you, because I guess in a way it's like, I don't know, they were really exploiting your artistry. Like you would be designing and making things that were making them thousands of dollars.
Exactly. And like even now, like right now, if you look on their website, they're still selling stuff that I've designed. Some of it's crap. Some of it's absolute crap because it's what our boss wanted me to copy from other designers.
Yes, and which that is a big thing too of fast fashion too that we should talk about, isn't it? It's all copy.
It's all copied. She'd bring me reference images, and then she'd be like, "Can you change this? Can you change that?" And I'd be like, "Yep." So I'd do it just because I just wanted to do my job and go home, and I'd change things. But then when the sample came back, and she'd be like, "Oh, let's change it back to how it originally was. Let's change it to be exactly like the one we copied." And I'm like, okay, so we're not really changing it. We're just fully copying someone else's design. And these are like big brand names that people actually have design teams and like fully got creative and stuff. Like it's not just like stealing other fast fashion. It's stealing big Australian brands and like and that was always like the worst part for me, was because like I would never do that, but like I was doing it just because
that was your job.
I was in that job. Like it was just like
yes,
that was
And so how, I have to ask, like being in such a suppressive environment, is that what fueled you to put like to really go, okay, I'm going to do my own thing and like fuck making too much stuff and making it too fancy. I'm just going to be real and make stuff and shop at Vinnie's and be me, and I don't need to wear makeup.
Oh my God, yeah. So I was already doing all of that. I was already like,
that's all you.
And both of us, we were both pretty like, wear secondhand, no makeup, just chilling out, good vibes. But I always felt like, and so did the other girl who worked with us, she actually said it to me. She was like, I feel like the ugly duckling here because I don't fit the society of like a fashionista or whatever. And I was like, so do I. I was like, why do I feel like that in this environment? And like, I was like, it's because I'm not, like, I never bought a single thing from our work ever.
Yeah, you didn't. You are you've always been like, ever since I've known you, and it seems to be since you were younger, like you've always been quite minimalist. And so I also want to ask about that. So what is being minimalist to you? What does that look like? Because I've seen pictures of your room and it is minimalist.
Well, I live with my partner now, so it's like, it's a bit different to my old room, but my old room is quite simple, plain, but I still keep my side of the room pretty simple and plain.
Yep.
But I don't know, being minimal to me is just like I wouldn't say I am a minimalist, but I like aspects of it. I like wearing solid colors of clothing because it's nice and clean for me. Like, I feel like that just like makes it easier for me to be able to style it with another piece that's a solid color, and like I don't know, it just makes it easier for me to actually like get up and choose what I'm wearing. Or if my room's nice and clean, it just like makes me feel good. And if there's actually like heaps of things around, it gives me anxiety. I'm like, nah, there's too much going on in here. So I don't know. And I've watched all those like movies and stuff on like Netflix about the minimalists, and then I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I'm going to start doing this. Even though I was already doing parts of it, I just liked it because I was like, yeah, it's not so like claustrophobic with heaps of things going on.
Yes. Yes. So the busyness is like, does it stress you out, would you say? Like, are you like clean, calm?
Clean, yeah. I wouldn't say, like, it does stress me out sometimes, but I feel like I've gotten to a nice medium now where I know what stresses me out. Like, I obviously, like I said before, I like solid colors. So when I'm buying things for my wardrobe, I pretty much never buy anything with like florals and prints and stuff, unless it's like a very timeless thing like gingham or something like that, or a stripe or something. But yeah, I just like to keep things nice and clean pretty much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then how does that come from your passion about like not producing waste, I guess, and being more sustainable and not leaving?
Keeping it, making sure that it like actually is going to last me for years and years. And like, people do talk about it, but I feel like it's not talked about enough. If you're like being sustainable and you can keep garments for years and years, you're saving so much money. And like, that's something that I love finance pretty much, not like in-depth finance, but I love saving and like budgeting and stuff. So when I'm like buying clothes, I'm like, oh, like that'll last me this long, so that'll save me a lot of money in the like long term or whatever. Yeah. And like, I think I went a couple of years without buying anything at all. Like, I just like kept my, it was like a year or something. Like, I really like pushed myself to do it, which was pretty fun actually.
And
like,
when you say not buying anything at all, do you mean just clothes, or do you mean clothes? Okay. Yes, but that's still a big deal. Like, were you buying a lot of clothes before that, or did you just like, what brought you to that, wanting to do that?
I don't know. Like, I was like, I think I went to uni and like I saw, like, coming from a small town in New South Wales and then moving to Sydney, right in the city, going to a top design school and going there and wearing just like my normal clothes, and like seeing these other girls from like Manly and stuff like come over with their like designer bags and like they're wearing high heels and stuff. I was like, ooh, I'm out of my league here. And like I still couldn't afford it. Like, I'm living in Sydney, paying my own rent. Like, I'm not going to go out and buy clothes. So I just like still wore my clothes that I wore, which I felt comfortable in anyway. Like, I wasn't embarrassed. It was just kind of more like, oh, I'm in such a different lifestyle to what they're in.
You were different. You were different.
different for sure. But like I would like during uni, I still would buy things that were like nice. I've never been like a fully over spender or anything like that. Like I never, I would say in high school, maybe like I did do like the odd online shop. It wasn't really a big thing back then though. Like I feel like online shopping really became huge in the last like, I don't know, whatever years. But when I was younger, it was only just coming in.
Yes.
And like, I feel like that was probably a good thing. But,
yes.
No, never a really big spender anyway. So it wasn't that hard when I did decide to stop buying clothes. And then after I did, I think it was a year, maybe a little bit less, maybe like 11 months or something. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy fast fashion. I'm going to allow myself to buy clothes secondhand and stuff when I need them, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, obviously only secondhand or if I made them myself. That's when I actually started designing and was able to like pattern make and stuff like that. So it became a lot easier, which is like obviously a privilege of mine. Not everyone can pattern make and make their own clothes that they imagine, but
yes,
yeah, that was my little rules for myself anyway.
So I can't believe I haven't even asked you this yet. How did you start making clothes? Like, tell me about that. Tell us.
Well, I first got into sewing when I'm pretty sure I was 7 or just.
Wow. So little.
So little. My nan, she sewed, and her mum, so my great nan, she could sew and like crochet and knit.
Wow.
Everyone, her name's Nanny Friends, and everyone, like my mum always says that she was incredible. Like she could imagine something and just whip it up, like just do it. And then, so my nan, she made my mum's wedding dress, and like, so she was really good at sewing. So when I was younger, my mum, we'd obviously go visit my nan, and she pulled out the sewing machine one day, and I was like, what's this funny thing?
Yes.
And she like just let me like steer the fabric and like stitch just straight lines, like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. And like, she got me my first sewing machine, which I still have to this day, that I still use.
Wow.
And that's how it officially started. I just eventually took that further and started, took design classes in high school, and I took those through year 8 to year 12 because I loved it, obviously. I knew that I wanted to do something creative, and I really love sewing and art and stuff, so I was like, love that.
Yeah.
And then after high school, I was like, everyone was going off to uni doing their degrees that they knew they wanted to do, and I was like, I don't know what I wanted to do. And like everyone was like, you should go do teaching or like do this and that. Like,
yes.
I don't want to go to teaching. I was like, I took a year off. I was like, I'm just going to take a year to think about it.
Yeah.
Went traveling, just worked and did some fun things. But like halfway through that year, I was like, okay, I really need to think about what I'm going to do next year. I was like, I don't want to be working in this cafe for the next 50 years.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, what do I do? And my sister at the time, she was living in Sydney, and she was like, there's this design school that like, I think you'd really like. And so she sent me the link, and I was like, okay. And they were doing like an open day, and I had no expectations. I was like, okay, I'll just go to this open day. So I flew down to Sydney, first time ever going to Sydney.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, what am I doing here? And like went to this school. There was all this stuff on like what they were showing, and like I was like, okay, this place is pretty cool. Like, and then like I walked into the design room, and there was like all these like toiles, which is like a sample garment pretty much made in just like crappy fabric, but like still shows the silhouette and like the design work and stuff. And I was like, oh, I was like, this is getting exciting now. I was like, okay, I like this.
Yes.
So I was like, just ended up enrolling and got in. I had to do like a portfolio, which I fully bluffed. Like,
what do you mean you fully bluffed?
They wanted to see like, other stuff that I'd created before, and I was like, I've just finished hadn't just finished, but I was like, I've just had a whole year off. The last thing I created was in year 12, where I made like a wall hanging that was like very good. I was like, just like random stuff. I was like, oh my God. So I just made up some stuff and like drew some sketches on the spot and like,
wow.
I don't know. I had this interview and like took this guy, fully bluffed it, me being like 19 and like sweating during this interview. But yeah, got in, moved to Sydney in January of, I can't even remember, I think it was 2017 or something.
Yeah.
And just went to study there full time, and like I fell in love with the design class there, which was like all about like pattern making and like sewing and stuff. That was my favorite class, the most important to me, and I just loved it. The other classes were a bit hit and miss sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah, that's how I really got into sewing, and I've just kept taking it forward. And I obviously started my own business now, which is just like making patterns and stuff, which I absolutely love. Like I've really enjoyed it. I'm so happy I started that. Yeah.
I just think it's such a cool idea, and so like it's such the way of the future. I mean, like it's so cool that to give people something that they can make and empower them to make something that looks like it could be hanging in a retail store that you'd pay a lot of money for. Like
exactly.
It's awesome. It's giving the power back to the creator, which I love.
Yeah. And they can like, make it in their own style, and like it just makes more sense.
Yes.
For me anyway, because I feel like when you buy things from a store or whatever, you kind of just like, you're going with whatever you're given pretty much, which is fine. Like, but I feel like a lot of people just buy into trends and stuff just because it's on the market at the time. And that's what's classified as trendy and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
then I guess what like people don't know is that to get it to look trendy is like thousands of photos, like sitting in a makeup chair for 2 hours and having professional photography, professional lighting, professional touch-up, professional everything. And so
and like ads and
yes, and you think that if you get that you're gonna have like look like that and have that experience, and then when you don't and you're like, oh, I just look a bit like, oh, it's too short, because everything's too short, because it's always sampled on people who are quite short. And so yes.
Oh my God. Like I remember we used to talk about is it Sabo or Sabo? I never know.
Yeah. I think it's I don't know. I get scared.
Always talk about them and how short their like dresses and stuff are, and everyone says it, but they still sell out because
they still sell out.
Trendy, like
that's it. And you get a good selfie in it. You know,
yes, you get a good selfie, and everyone knows that you're wearing that brand. So it's like
that's right.
It doesn't matter if it's too short.
No, that's right. Exactly. So going back to your designing, and what do you prefer? Do you prefer sewing or designing?
I really like designing, but it takes a lot more effort, and I have to be in the mood for it. Like,
okay,
because there's a lot of aspects of designing that I'm actually not very good at, that people like wouldn't think. I don't think anyway. Like,
really?
Yeah, like I in my design class at uni, I used to just like not wing it, but like I wouldn't stick by the actual like rules. Not that there's any rules, but like my design teacher, she was a professional. Like she did pattern making for like very good brands and stuff. And she'd be like, okay, if you drop the shoulder by half an inch, you have to do this by a quarter of an inch, no more than a quarter inch. And like very strict little rules if you change things. And like you wouldn't know about that if you didn't do design.
Yeah.
But I would always just like, I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to do it more than this and like blah, blah, blah. And she never really liked that. So when I like design for myself, I'm like, I still have those rules in my head where I'm like, oh, I have to only do this much or only do that much. But I'm like, oh no, but I've got to do this much of this. So I'm constantly like second guessing myself when I'm designing.
Because you've always got that reference of like, it should be.
Yeah, it should be like this. It should be like that. And it's like, yeah.
But if it works, it works, right?
Exactly. That's what I think. I'm like, if it works, it's fine. Like, who's to say that it's wrong if it still works?
How have you maintained like your sense of self? And it seems to me that you've only gotten like stronger in embracing your uniqueness and your difference in being like the more, I don't know, like toned down fashion designer who's very down to earth, but like so needed and like, I don't know, like it's so good. But I wonder like, how have you managed to stay so true to yourself?
I don't
How
know,
has
like,
it not crushed you? How?
like where we worked, or
How we worked, and then also the industry, because the industry isn't kind. Like, how have you? Did you just develop it? Have you got a thick skin? Do you think?
I feel like I do. And then when I was actually like working at our work, I feel like I developed an even more thick skin because I didn't want to show our bosses how I truly felt. Like I could have broke down crying in front of them a million times. And I didn't break down crying in front of them, but I broke down crying in front of other people towards the end of when I like finished and stuff. But like I never wanted them to see that because then they would know that I was like weak or whatever. And like,
but it's not weak.
It's not weak. It's not weak at all. Like they just made me feel like if I cry in front of them, they're going to win pretty much, or like just, it was just such a mental game with them. But when I was working there, I always, well, not always actually, in the last year that I was working there, I started my YouTube, and that's when I like just started enjoying doing things for myself that I was like, I was making sewing vlogs and like, just like I started pattern making more and taking photos more, and like my Instagram started to grow and stuff. And I was like, oh, like people actually like seeing this sort of stuff. So it was like, I don't know, I was living a bit of a double life. Like I was working at this toxic fast fashion environment.
Yes.
But then on the side, I was making sustainable content online and like showing people how to sew their own clothes and like just having fun and stuff, which I think having that on the side, it just made me like not forget work, but it made me feel like I had something to keep holding on to. Like I'm having fun on this side of my life, not having fun on this side at work, but this side I'm having fun. So that kind of kept me grounded, I guess. Yeah. And then when I like left, I was like, okay, I'm obviously going to keep building on this, and it's always been a passion, so it's like it's just kept growing, which is like always amazing.
That's really cool, and I think that that's important for people to hear, especially because I think there's a lot of I don't know, like I've been in jobs that I've like people understand, and you feel if you feel like you're a bit of a, I don't know, misfit, or you're, you know, all of that, and then you're in a bad environment, it's like, what would be your advice for someone in that similar situation, stuck in a job that they really don't like?
I really don't like. Oh, gosh, like I don't even know what advice I'd tell myself at that time, because I felt like I kind of needed to go through it to be like where I am now. But I like, obviously, if you can get out of a job that you really, really hate and it's toxic or whatever, like I really think so. Like I left my job for way less salary just to get out. Yes. And like, I don't know what advice I'd give. It's just like, if it's really not like, if it's really conflicting with like your morals and ethics and things, like you have to start making choices that are going to get you out. Like, whether that's like applying for jobs or talking to people on LinkedIn or whatever, like just trying to get links to somewhere. Like I definitely think you should do it, because that's what I was doing. I was trying to get out. Like I was making small steps, going to interviews and stuff. And eventually it clicked, one clicked. But that's all you need. You only need one to get out. So it's like, stay positive.
Stay positive. And also I can see that doing what you love still is what got you through. So it is, it's your passion of your own sewing and your own designing and pattern making and vlogging that really got you through, would you say?
Yes, I would. Like if I didn't have that, I would literally just be working, or like I would have been working, going to sleep, waking up, going to like work, like just would have been a cycle of work. But because I had like design and stuff on the side and wanted to vlog, I was hi Daniel. Because I like wanted to vlog, because I wanted to sew and stuff, it made me happy, so it kept me pretty grounded.
That's awesome, Georgia. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're almost up at our 60-minute mark. And so before we wrap up, sorry, my throat's gone a bit funny.
Yeah, I need water too, actually.
Have some water. I want to ask, before you go, I want to know what inspires you? Who inspires you? What do you do that because I know on your Instagram you're you do a lot of positive affirmations, and like you're very like open and vulnerable about like positive mental health, and I just wonder what inspires you?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I am not very good at answering this question. People have asked me what inspires me a lot, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, people are always like, oh yeah, art, or like travel and stuff like that. And I'm like, and literally, like, if I see something that just sparks something in me, like, I'll normally, I don't know, like, I literally don't know. Like, I'll just like,
that's okay. You don't need to know.
Just life pretty much inspires me. Like, I just want to be doing something that I love. So it's like, I just constantly feel inspired pretty much. Like, it doesn't.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, people always ask me that. I'm like, I don't know.
That's cool though. Like, I think maybe too is that like you've made your life quite, I don't know, a great place for yourself. Like you've now your life is where you want to be, who you want to be talking to, and doing what you want to do. So maybe you don't need so much inspiration. No.
I don't know if I do need inspiration, like whether that be like design or like life, whatever. Like, I'll usually just like talk to my friends, or like,
yes,
I don't know, see what's happening in everyone else's life really, and get some help from them. Or
so good people around you.
Good people. Like, I feel like everyone in my life is like pretty chill as well, and like I no longer have any like toxic relationships with anyone or anything like that, so it's very calming.
Do you think it's important to be intentional who you let in and out of your life because of that?
Yeah, I think so, because like, if someone's like, I know I had friendships when I was like quite younger that were really fun at the time and stuff, but I know if they were in my life now, that would probably hold me back.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that I don't still wish good on those people or anything like that.
Yes.
Like, I still do. But I just know that like we've grown apart for a reason. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. It's good advice. Okay, so what's next for you? Have you got little passion projects that are brewing? Any more designs coming?
Well, I'm thinking about my next pattern. My goal was this year to release 2 patterns. So I've done one.
I love it.
I've got another one in mind. I haven't done anything towards it. I'm just having a little bit of a break.
Yes.
But I've got one pattern that I want to get done by the end of the year. And I don't know, I'm just going to keep vlogging and having fun. Hopefully more sewing vlogs. I haven't been able to do any sewing vlogs because I'm just in a new like home environment and just getting used to it, even though I've been here for like 6 months, but just getting used to it.
Yes, because you're a creature of comfort. Like, as in you like your, things to be.
Things in a certain spot, everything to be like a certain way. So it's, yeah.
So that's cool though, but that's like a part of your creative process, is having a clean slate, a good space where you can just get into it and just be, like, disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, and then I've got 2 more questions. So the first one is, it's your birthday and your birthday cake's in front of you. You've got a candle there. You blow it out. What do you wish for?
Oh, I thought we weren't meant to tell our wishes.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like, who knows? But But like, say right now, in this moment, what would you wish for?
God, I don't know. I normally sounds so silly, but I normally always wish for like more ways of money coming into me. I know that sounds like
That's not silly.
But like there's more things in life than money, but I feel like I like to feel secure with money, so I'm always wishing for more money. But
yep.
I don't know, it's my birthday. Maybe just like more food or something.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a very honest answer. I think most people do wish for more money and more food.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. And I hope you get your wishes come true. And so, like, is there anything else that you wanted to, like, talk about or put out there while you've got the chance?
No. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. And then I just have 3 things that you're grateful for, Georgia.
Ooh, 3 things. I'm grateful for everyone in my life, and that's like past and present, because even if they were in my life for like a day, that still counts. So I'm grateful for everyone.
Aww.
And I am grateful for, I don't know, just my experience within Brisbane. I really like Brisbane. When I was in Sydney, I did not like it, and I know some people love it, but I hated it. I was there for 3 years, and I think there was maybe a 6-month period where I really liked it. But besides from that, I hated it. Couldn't deal with it. And
what was it about Sydney that you didn't like?
I don't know. Like, it was just like, I don't know. It was just very like cliquey, and it was really hard to make friends. Like, I felt like no one really wanted to do the like fun things that I wanted to do without having to like get drunk or go out or party or like. And I was like, I don't want to go out and party. And like, I was like, I just want to do the fun things without drinking. Or like, but yeah.
So community, there was like lack of community there.
Community there, and like, and when I moved to Brisbane, I really found a lot of people that I really liked. So, and it felt like a big country town. So it felt like home, just in a very bigger space.
Yes. Queensland is like that too. It is very like country town feeling. It's always sunny. You're always in thongs.
Yes, that's yes. So I used to wear my thongs to uni, and everyone used to just be like, "This is Logan. Like, who is this girl?"
I bloody love that.
No one wears thongs in Sydney, let alone a design school. So
that's amazing. I love that.
I was like, I'm comfy. Like,
oh, Georgia, it's been such a pleasure. You are so down to earth and authentic, and I know you are going to just go so far, and all that money is coming in because your designs are freaking good. Like, okay, listener, Georgia is a great designer. Just go follow her. Go watch her vlogs for like good, uplifting content where you feel like, oh, I'm watching a real girl who gets it, who's like actually sharing life and doing inspiring things and creating things. So keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
Oh, that's like really sweet. Like, I'm actually always blown away when people say that they're like, watch my vlogs, because I'm like, really? I'm like, do you really? And then they'll like say something that happened in it. I'm like, oh my God, you actually did watch my vlog.
Yes, yes. And I think it's like, because I want to vlog and I want to share myself, but I'm scared. And you inspire me because you are just unapologetically you, and you're beautiful for it. Yeah. And so you inspire me.
That's how I felt. Like, I remember asking my friends, being like, guys, if I start a YouTube channel, can you not make fun of me?
Yeah.
I'm scared. But they like love it now. They love it.
Oh, that's awesome. And so they should. Thank you so much, Georgia. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No worries. Thank you for having me. It's been so fun.
And I know. And where can people find you?
On my Instagram, which is Georges_portfolio on Instagram. And then my website is just georgesportfolio.com.au. And you can find me on, what's the other one? YouTube.
Awesome.
Georgia's portfolio. Georgia's
Brilliant.
portfolio, pretty much.
Yay. Yay. Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you.
Bye, listen. Hey, so I just, is this on? Hello? Wait up. Hello? Oh, did I unplug it? Hello. Yo. Okay, yes, I'm here. So I just finished my interview with Georgia, fashion designer, vlogger. Yeah, cool chick. How cool was she? She's like, the thing that I always admired about her is, and just to give you a bit of context around Georgia and who she is that we used to work together at this fashion brand, and we would sit opposite each other, and I am like an ADD. I need bum glue. Like I really struggle to sit down. I'll work good for my actually shout out to Kathy Stevenson or Stevens, sorry Kathy, who was my teacher at design college, and she used to say, you can only stay still for 20 minutes max. Like that's all you've got in you, and then you've got to get up and do something and run around. And I was like, yeah, you're right, actually. Like she would just notice as she was teaching me that I would just get so restless and disruptive after 20 minutes. So like so when we would work together, I would be like up and down and changing things I was doing and procrastinating, and then like having a really intense, like maybe 20 minutes to an hour of like work where I smash out heaps of stuff, and then having to go and be like la 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 and like do something else and play in style or do something silly. And so, but Georgia was the opposite. She would get there. She would like get there before me every week, and she would just like every day, and she would just like work like a workhorse. She would sit there and she would just become mesmerized, and she would like forget to have lunch and like do things because she was just so immersed and so busy and so like into it and like in getting it a good job done. And I always admired that in her. So I'm not surprised at how much stuff she produces and can make, and like how well she's doing now, because she's very dedicated. Yeah, and it was really cool to talk to her about the fast fashion stuff and just about that last workplace that we worked for, which was quite toxic. And to tell you the truth, like I feel like I can't remember all that much from that time anymore. Like I do, but I don't. And so it was kind of a bit of a it was cool to talk to her about that. Like, I don't know if you ever have this, but like, it's kind of like when you connect to someone who was there for a part of your life that is no longer there, and it's like, oh, you remember me then? Like, that existed, that was real, and it's like a validating reassurance that experience was valid. It's good. It was nice. I really enjoyed talking to Georgia. She challenged me to be more open, to let my guard down more, to let you guys in more, because like I feel, I don't know why, I just want to do this podcast. I just feel really like I really want to do it. And I really hope that listeners connect to it and just gives you something to listen to that's not complete bullshit. I mean, probably most of the time, like let's say 75% bullshit, and then like the rest is just sprinkles.